storage with Presto Logistics. Go to prestomoving.com or call 818-349-4000, prestomoving.com, 818-349-4000.
We all know the importance of good daily habits, whether it's getting outside, getting your steps in, stretching those limbs, or eating right. Doing it on the regular is key. That's why if you're dealing with everyday aches and pains, it's time to bring Relief Factor into your life. Head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 800-4RELIEF and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. Relief Factor is the daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by a team of doctors, it uses a special formula of 4 natural ingredients. Relief Factor doesn't just mask the pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it. In fact, the longer you take Relief Factor, the more effective it is to get your days going without any pain. See if we can get you out of pain by taking their 3-week quick start. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Simply call 800-4RELIEF. 800-4RELIEF, wherever you're having pain, neck, shoulders, hips, knees. Don't let it keep you from living the life you want to live. Make Relief Factor part of your daily routine. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
I think we can all agree the world is a very tenuous place. Jen and Grant here asking you to celebrate 4th of July by sending Troopathon care packages to our U.S. military, protecting and serving so far away from home and family.
While we celebrate living in the best country on earth with backyard barbecues and summer fun, many of our true American heroes will be forgotten. Your donations of $25, $50, or $100 to Troopathon will brighten the hero's day.
And for those blessed more than most, a one-time gift of $5,000 to Troopathon, hundreds of care packs to our brave U.S. military around the world. And to say thank you, you can watch the last hour of the Morning Answer Show and have breakfast with me and Grant afterwards.
Let's remind our military around the world how grateful we are for their brave service. To donate, call 833-2-TROOPS. That's 833-2-TROOPS. Or online at am870.info. Thank you for your generous donation.
AM 870. The Answer. Mistrust, division. It's not what we're moving towards.
This program is sponsored by C&M Metals.
Hi, David Hernandez here. I am excited to introduce an amazing and inspiring individual, my friend Ariona.
Thank you, David. My name is Ariona Grabowska, and I come from Europe, a small country called Albania, and was born and raised in an atheist family. After finding faith and a relationship with Jesus, I was sent by him to come to the United States to bring revival. So our first revival was in Santa Clarita. It was an amazing experience in 2024. And now I'm excited to tell you about our second revival meeting taking place on June 21st at Birmingham Charter High School Patriot Stadium. Hundreds of churches and thousands of people will gather to bring unity and revival in San Fernando Valley. I invite you to join us on Saturday, June 21st. The doors open at 4 p.m. The event starts at 5:30 p.m. at Patriot Stadium. And together in unity, we will see the hand of God move in mighty ways in San Fernando Valley. The event is free to attend. For more information, go to ArionaGrabowskaMinistries.org. That's ErionaGrabowska Ministries.org. And if you cannot attend but want to support this event, you can make a tax-deductible donation at ArionaGrabowskaMinistries.org. Or you can call us at 818-324-5668. One more time, 818-324-5668.
Hola, this is Brianna Cespedes, better known as DJ Cubanita. Welcome to the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club show with your host, the man from the land of Lincoln, Lincoln Heights, David Hernandez. And from the jewel of San Fernando Valley, Arleta, California, Marianne Maldonado Bernal. You heard it right, Hispanic Republicans. Why? Because Hispanic values are conservative values, and conservative values are Republican values. That's why brown is the new red, Republican red. So listen up and hear what being a Republican is really about. Faith, family, and opportunity. And who knows, you just may be a Republican after all. If you believe only women should compete in women's sports, if you believe only girls and women should be allowed to use women's bathrooms, if you believe only women should be allowed in women's prisons, if you believe parents have a right and responsibility to raise their children, and if you believe age-appropriate, non-pornographic learning material should be the only books in schools, then welcome. Estás en tu casa. You are home. Now your hosts, David Hernandez and Marianne Maldonado Bernat.
Well, here we are. It's Saturday night, Marianne.
Yes, it is, David. We have so much to go over. We have a 2-hour show, which is really great. I think maybe we should start off, number one, by letting our president know that we wish him a happy birthday. It is our president's birthday, and I think that's a good way to start the show off. And then the next thing is I think we should wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day, especially the fathers that are out right now serving us at all these different protests.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, it's we got the National Guard out there, we got our law enforcement out there, we got military, and a lot of people, a lot of these men and women are out there for us. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum that you're on. The fact is that they are there for us, and so I hope they all are safe this evening. And again, I want to from the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club wish them a happy Father's Day.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
And also, I know this show is has a little bit of a preference for the Marine Corps because we know Benny's brother Roy, served in Vietnam, and
his other brother,
yes. and we have Benny Nahar with the Marine Corps League over there at the San Fernando American Legion Hall, and all those great guys over there. It was Rudy Cadero. I mean, there's just so many great Marines here in the San Fernando Valley. But today is the 250th anniversary of the United States Army.
That's right.
And in spite of everything that's going on locally on the streets, that's going internationally, that's going wherever, we want to take a moment and acknowledge that service because, when you go back to World War I, you go back to World War II, the Marines, when you think of the Marines, you think of, Okinawa, you think of Guadalcanal, you think of all of those, all of the movies that are made about all of those things. But, in the European front, you had the Third Army, you had Patton's Army, you had, the invasion at Normandy and all of that. And right. So we want to acknowledge, all the individuals that have served in the Army, that are serving in the Army. My brother Robert served in the U.S. Army in Vietnam. And, we know our good friend Paul Jones, who's running for state. Actually, Paul was a Marine. Sorry, Paul. You were a Marine. That's right. I was going to give you some kudos, especially since you were wounded and are a Purple Heart recipient. But our other good friend, Tony Rodriguez, yes. Tony, who ran for state assembly in the 44th Assembly District, he was on the United States Army. And also our dear friend who has passed on, Ralph Ramirez, yes. Served in the Army. And I think he was a lieutenant colonel. And so, good thoughts out to those who have served, who are serving, and also the families, because the families of the service individuals really pay a price. And I was reminded recently at a prayer breakfast in Southgate, where I thanked the veterans. I had them all stand up and thank them for their service.
Yes.
And one lady raised her hand and said, my husband came back, but he did not come back the same.
Right.
He was violent. He was just angry. He was, that the families pay a dear price, even when their husbands come back, because of the trauma that they experience. And so that's why we're really fortunate indeed to have a Veterans Administration system that is improving.
Yes.
That is giving, access and more benefits for those individuals. And so it's your day, U.S. Army. My father enlisted in the Army Air Corps. I mean, before there was the Air Force, it was the Army Air Force. And so he was in the Army Air Force. He went to flight school, but the war ended. So he didn't become a pilot. He became an insurance adjuster. So it was back to there. And so, and what's happening on the streets, tonight, it's still going on.
Yes. I mean, it's so strange because we have parades going on, and as we're having parades going on, we're having protests going on, and so it's just kind of really strange right now. We're living in a really strange time, and I do know some people are upset about the parade that's going on in Washington.
You mean the parade that was scheduled and
2
organized
years ago
before
Yes.
Donald Trump was
Yes.
elected president?
It was being planned 2 years ago. So for the people out there that are trying to say that Donald Trump is trying to be king or whatever, and this parade is part of it, is that's poo-poo. And it's just not true. This was planned 2 years ago. So I mean, come on, people, let's all get a grip. We're just we're just at each other too much, and it's very sad what's happening right now, and all the ways around. I know we're going to dive deeper into it. There's a lot to go over.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll do that a little bit later. But because right now the 2026 election cycle has already begun. You have, I think, 200 people have signed up to run for Senate races and assembly races, and a lot of people have signed up to run for governor.
Yes.
And I'm looking across the camera right here at our friend James Satami, and we met James, and he is. Well, actually, let's find out a little bit about James before we go into the race itself. Welcome, James.
Thank you for having me, David. I love your name to say David Hernandez. It's a beautiful name. And Marianne, thank you for your hospitality, and thank you for having me here.
Now, James, from your accent, are you from like Minnesota, or what is that accent from?
Actually, that's
Minnesota Dutch, or?
my story is that it depends what part of the country you are when you ask me that question.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in LA around Beverly Hills,
you're a Persian?
Yes. But if from East or West Coast, I'm from Iran.
Iran, okay.
However, if you're in Midwest, I'm from Iran.
Iran. But our apologies for what Jimmy Carter did to Persia, and that is, we met so many individuals that have fled.
Including
Iran.
myself. I'm Jewish, so that's why I had to do. Actually, I'm telling my friends, I wish instead of Carter, Mr. Trump was the president at the time. I actually, he did go to Iran in his younger years because he's a businessman. If you listen to the old interviews with the Shah, he was saying that it was business. He said, listen, you buying the oil from me for $4 a barrel, and I buy like your F4 for $100,000, $100 million, no problem. But all of a sudden, they raised the price to $400 million. He says, do you guys have 400% inflation? If that's the case, I'm going to raise my oil price from $4 to $16. But if Trump was there, I bet you he would say, you know what, either give us like 120 million or buy 4 instead of 2,
Yes.
And it would be done. The deal would be done. Really, really, I mean, millions and millions and millions.
Now, how old were you when you immigrated here?
I was 17.
Uh-huh.
I was just 2 months shy of turning 18, and I came with one suitcase, and my dad said, James, or Jamshid is my Persian name. He gave me $3,000. This is all I can do for you. He says, make it or break it. He said, if you make it, so much, good for you. But literally, he said, if you come with like a beaten dog with your tail between your legs, don't say that I didn't give you a shot.
Right.
So I guess so far I made it.
So you came by yourself?
Yes, all by myself.
Yes.
One suitcase. I came to New York.
And so what do you do? I'm just wanting to.
I got down, put my hand on the ground, kissed the ground, and said, here we are.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do and why you decided to get in the race?
I went to college. I went into real estate business right now, so people trust their lives. I followed my passion. I actually overhaul aircraft engines, and seeing what we see right now. I mean, California is so beautiful. People are so Unfortunately, what we call it, like actually the Shah was saying back in Iran, we have the silence of the majority. Majority of Californians are good people. They have good common sense. For some reason, they're sitting in the back and they're not doing anything. The same thing when it happened back in Iran with the revolution. Only about less than 10% of people came out and made a mess. And here in California, please, all the good Californians, if you're listening, come and vote. Actually, we had this recall that I've been even put a bunch of money advertised on the radio. We still haven't made it. We need 1,300,000 with signatures.
Right. Well, now, so you were an aircraft mechanic.
I still am.
And then now, did you go into real estate?
I was in real estate, but I decided, to me, sales is very simple. I mean, I felt terrible. I mean, I make a ton of money, but I feel it's unjust. I mean, but I really like to use my hand and, my brain. So when you physically, take an engine apart and clean it and put it back together, and when you start the first time.
And now, do you have a business doing that, or are you at a particular airport or hangar?
I'm at Santa Paula Airport. I have my own hangar, and hatamis.com is my website for the engine thing. But right now, I want to advertise the CaliforniaGreat.com. If people go there, please go there, print out the recall petition, sign it, and mail it in. And we need that.
Now, the CaliforniaGreat.com, is that your website or is that someone else?
It's mine.
Your website. Okay. All right. And so now I know that we've had a couple of attempts to recall the governor, and we know our friends were successful in getting it on the ballot. They collected, the required number of signatures. And I forget how many signatures do we need?
1,300,000.
1,300,000. So realistically, we're going to need, because a lot of times the signatures aren't valid. You're going to need probably maybe 1,800,000, somewhere around there.
I'll be running out of time. And today actually would be the 82nd day in a row I've been writing to the White House. Unfortunately, zero response.
Well, and then, so when's the cutoff date when they have to be in?
I believe I forgot. I asked Mr.
Randy Economy.
Economy.
Okay.
And
well, I mean, we can find it out, but so
a couple of months from now.
So people can still sign the petition.
Yes, they can.
Okay. So and that's and that would to have a special election before the regular election in June.
Yes, because I promise people I will not run again for the governor, and that's a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm the only candidate that promises that from day one I wear a live body camera during office hours, talking about accountability and transparency. And the reason I do that, if I'm so you can see me 40 hours every week, exactly what I do.
Except for the bathroom break.
Of course, I'll be put. But even closed door, sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, hey,
I think it's a good idea.
This is LA. We know what some of the politicians were doing in the bathroom. They came out with white powder around their nose.
You know what? Actually, I used to joke, and still I do that. When I was younger, I used to work for a company. Let's say you try to hire me. We had an interview. You tell me, James, okay, everything's fine. I'm going to give you so much per hour and everything else. And he said, just go, give a little test. And
in the cup, right?
And I turn around and says, David, he said, what? You haven't even hired me. I said, I'll do it under one condition. He said, excuse me. I said, you test me my blood right now. If you don't find any drug, not even a trace of caffeine, you have to double my salary. So everybody would laugh. So that's how I am. Very clean. I have no problem with, no powder. Don't worry about it. But the thing is that, I'm thinking, and I'm guaranteeing that within 1 year, sorry, you did tell me don't touch the table, that I would eradicate homelessness. And because of that, I know after next year, when it comes next November, when you say Hatami, you say, you know what, this guy did what he promised. I'm going to and I'm not going to run for governor, because 40 hours every week, you see me times 50, that's 2,000 hours of advertising. And I will do it. And the way I promised like this, I'm a man of action, because actually last Wednesday I went actually to the
demonstrations,
riots. Yeah. And I got in a lot of trouble, but which is fine. I'm a man of action. What I say, I do. Homelessness, I'm a very straightforward person. Let's say we have only 100,000 homeless. I would say 10% of them are illegals. Well, they're going to be out. I'm going to pass a enforceable law that no one can sleep on this outside of the street in the whole state of California. 10% of those people are really people who lost their jobs. They're homeless because of financial or family issues, whether divorce or whatever, and they really want to work. Guess what? We're going to find them jobs right away. Now we have 80% left. Out of the 80%, I would suspect about 50% of them are out of staters, people who've been in California less than 7 years. We're going to ship them back to their their own states under one caveat. If they come back, they're forced to work in a work camp. Now
you're going to do a Joe Arpaio and put them in underwear and put them in a camp out there to work.
And pink underwear.
Now the end part of it is really tough. So we have 40,000 left. Out of those, you have mental, physical, or drug issue. We try to provide them all the help they need. However, we're going to go outside between here and Vegas, make a huge campsite, fencing around, Johnny on the spot, because they want to sleep outside, fine, tents, whatever. But we're going to find them jobs. They have to work to live. So if somebody works full time, I'll give them $15 an hour tax free.
Well, they could go to work at McDonald's,
but they're not
for $20 an hour. What are you talking about?
But we give them $15 tax free. They have to work, so they learn something, and they can be outside, whatever they want to do. And then we provide them beautiful cafeteria with all the good food. If they work part-time, they get part-time pay. Now the second door opens, just enough sustenance to keep them alive. And if they decide they don't want to work, there's no food. Remember what
you're getting biblical now, right?
You know what Cheech and Chong says? He says, in order to survive, one must eat. If you don't eat, you starve. And if you starve long enough, you won't be able to die. You won't be able to say, right on when I don't want you to.
You should probably leave that off the brochure.
I know. But
work or die.
No, that's one. So when the homeless is gone, we're paying $8.5 billion a year just to house our incarcerated. Did you know that? $8.5 billion.
Actually, that's not very much. I mean, the budget at LAUSD, and you put it all together, whether it's LAUSD, whether it's the community college board, you start adding all of those millions and millions of budgets that people have, it starts adding up into the billions.
I know. So what I would do also, if I decide to get reelected, I go after the incarcerated. They have to work. Not only they have to work, the same thing, they're going to learn a trade. They're going to have save some money when they come out. And also, end of the month, for those guys, I'm going to charge them $1,500 room and board. So not only we don't save $8.5 billion, we be making money when they work. Obviously, you make some money. You give somebody $15, at least you make $5 off of them. And they learn a trade. So not only that, we also make money off the.
Right. So some of your big issues, and I think what I'm hearing is that the homelessness is one of the big ones. Also what public safety as well.
I'm so much for the police. Actually, when I was in the riots, actually it was another Spanish TV station. The gentleman says, "Do you speak Spanish?" I said, "No." He says, "No problem." He started interviewing me. He says, "Sir, what do you think about all this, army and stuff like that?" I said, "What's the problem? The more the merrier." I said, "Sir, let me ask you this." He says, "What?" I said, "Don't tell me where you live, whether they have a house or apartment, whatever. But if you find out that at the end of your street every night there's a police car with 5 cops in it, are you gonna complain?" He says, "No." And then he says, "Sir, I gotta go." I said, "Okay."
What do you think? I'm just curious
Sure.
because, we're dealing with the riots right now.
Sure.
And you did go out there and you are from a different country.
Yes.
You are, I'm assuming, here legally.
Oh,
and
yes.
and so what do you think about what is happening with the illegals and the illegal immigration? What do you think? Do you think it's, what all these protests are, kind of like do you think it's a fair way to kind of gauge whether Trump is being a fair person or he's not being a fair person? What do you
He's being super fair. Number one, let me tell you, as far as being outside, there's a saying, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. I've been through riots. Look, 45 years of what a mess we are back in Iran.
Yes.
So I understand that. So these young people don't know what's going on, number one. Number two, I came here on the student visa. It took me a long time, couple of years to even get that visa to come to the United States. It took me 2 years to apply for political asylum. It took me 3 years to get my green card. I had to wait 5 more years to get my citizenship. And before that, they did a fingerprint, make sure I have no record. They took x-rays from my lung and chest to make sure that I'm perfectly healthy. Then they gave me citizenship. A lot of other people I talked last Wednesday, the same thing. One guy was from Cuba. He said it took me 8.5 years. The other guy said 7 years, which is beautiful. Do the time. I said, I love immigrants. Yes, come. Even those who are working, they have work visa. Go back, get a work visa, come here. We are golden. You want to apply for the citizenship? No problem. The more the merrier.
Yes.
Fine. Come in the proper way. Nobody's going to bother you. And they said about, as far as what you think about having riots or demonstration. I said, I love demonstrations. I have no problem as long you go to a police station, you get a permit. They even provide you some, security. So come here. Do not block the roads.
Yes.
Do not break things. Do not loot. And be respectful and keep the place clean. Guess what? You can be there 24/7, 365 days. Nobody's going to say anything to you.
Yes. But what's happening, I think what's happening is, people are trying to, on the opposite side, on the, if you want to say the Democrat side, they are trying to pose this as like, it's peaceful. It's peaceful. Well, you know what? There's thousands of videos all over the place showing a lot of damage, and we have millions of dollars of damage. So it's like, come on now, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is peaceful during the day, but once nighttime hits, it's out of control.
Let's not even go there. Let's okay, it's peaceful. If it's peaceful, what do you care whether there's military or what have you? What do you care? You say you're peaceful. I'm providing you extra security. What is the problem?
Absolutely. Yes. Hold that thought, because here comes the music. We'll be right back. James, can you stay just a little bit longer?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Sure.
Okay,
absolutely.
We'll be right back with Marianne Bernal and David Hernandez, James Atami. You're listening to the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club radio show on AM 870, The Answer.
The swamp is draining, dead people aren't voting, and girls can play sports with biological girls again. America's position for 4 years of sanity and economic prosperity. What are you doing to make your business great again? Hi, my name is Anna, and I help small, mid, and large-sized businesses smash their revenue goals. Want to advertise on our airways? I got you. Want to try smart TV ads? I got you. Digital marketing has your head spinning? I got you. But don't take my word for it. Hear what my clients have to say.
Anna did a great job communicating my business concept clearly. It helped me seal the deal with my biggest client to date, and my YouTube views tripled.
Marketing works when it's done right. Call me for a free consultation. 818-662-3791. 818-662-3791. That's 818-662-3791, or email anna@salemla.com. Let's make your business great again.
Driving along San Fernando Road at Los Feliz, just seeing Dinah's chicken in that giant chicken bucket. Your mouth waters for that famous secret fried chicken recipe, juicy and cooked to perfection. Well, it's time to celebrate Dad's scratch. For a limited time, take out any family meal and get a free $20 gift card to use next time. And for your graduation parties, save 25% off any order of $100 or more. And don't forget the sides. mashed potatoes, salads, mac and cheese, fries, coleslaw, and that delicious apple pie. Woo! Celebrate dads and grads at Dinah's now through June 15th. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, dine in or carry out. Take out any family meal and get a free $20 gift card to use next time. Or save 25% off any order $100 or more. Some restrictions apply. Dinah's Chicken. It's the answer to what's for dinner. 4106 San Fernando Road at Los Feliz in Glendale. 818-244-4188. Online at dinahschicken.com.
The answer. Breaking news.
More large protests in LA and across Southern California are expected this weekend. Here's LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell, who says his officers respect the right to demonstrate.
But if you come to our city with the intent to commit crimes, damage property, or harm others, including our officers, you will be arrested.
In addition to the ongoing demonstrations against federal immigration enforcement, a protest called No Kings is happening all over the country. Larry Marino in the Answer Newsroom.
Waking up.
Coming up on the next Morning Answer.
A poison pill in California's budget.
Or health care for illegals.
Tune in weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m.
This is the Morning Answer.
Hi, David Hernandez here. I am excited to introduce an amazing and inspiring individual, my friend Ariona.
Thank you, David. My name is Ariona Grabowska, and I come from Europe, a small country called Albania, and was born and raised in an atheist family. After finding faith and a relationship with Jesus, I was sent by him to come to the United States to bring revival. So our first revival was in Santa Clarita. It was an amazing experience in 2024. And now I'm excited to tell you about our second revival meeting taking place on June 21st at Birmingham Charter High School Patriot Stadium. Hundreds of churches and thousands of people will gather to bring unity and revival in San Fernando Valley. I invite you to join us on Saturday, June 21st. The doors open at 4 p.m. The event starts at 5:30 p.m. at Patriot Stadium. And together in unity, we will see the hand of God move in mighty ways in San Fernando Valley. The event is free to attend. For more information, go to ArionaGrabowskaMinistries.org. That's ErionaGrabowska Ministries.org. And if you cannot attend but want to support this event, you can make a tax-deductible donation at ArionaGrabowskaMinistries.org. Or you can call us at 818-324-5668. One more time, 818-324-5668.
David Hernandez from the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club Show. You are listening to AM 870, The Answer.
When I say how much I love you.
A little bit different music, Marianne. Well, we're back, and you know what's going on right now in Los Angeles is going to be there for a while. But what is taking place tonight, probably daytime in Israel now, that has some very horrible possibilities of coming up. So let's go ahead and bring on the air our good friend Rabbi Michael Barkley. Rabbi, welcome.
How are you, David? How are all my holy brothers and sisters over there?
Hi,
well,
we're good.
We're good. We're here. We're praying for you. We're praying for Israel. I mean, we're getting different clips of what's happening, but you know, it's like I said, it's usually when we talk to you, it's something like October 7th. It's there's usually something bad taking place when we talk to you.
That's okay. We love each other, and that's okay.
So can you give our listeners a rundown as to, I guess, in this particular instance, what happened first? And I mean, we know that Israel, even when they're talking about having, a ceasefire, Israel is still taking rockets from, all different directions.
Okay, so a brief summary. We've been at war. It's been horrible. We've been getting, attacked and attacked and attacked, especially now recently from the Houthis. Iran had been having supposed discussions with America about nuclear disarmament, but it was all a form of stalling, which many of us suspected. Last Sunday, Monday, it was clear that Iran had been working even more so with their uranium enrichment program, and that they were only days away from having a nuclear weapon if they did not have one already. So on Monday night, there was an emergency meeting of Security Council in Israel, and on Thursday, evening or Thursday evening. Their Friday morning, I guess, 3 in the morning, the sirens went off in Israel so that everyone would go into the shelters expecting an Iranian counterattack. And Israel launched an attack at 3:30 in the morning. They knocked out a number of different military facilities. They knocked out a number of nuclear facilities, or at least did some damage. And they also eliminated a number of the highest-ranking military officers in Iran. One of the things that they did very successfully is they really knocked out a lot of the air defense systems Iran had. Part of that was by an operation that Mossad had been doing for a very long time. They had actually created a base inside of Iran. And when this attack happened, all the drones came out and they really decimated Iran's air defense systems. Iran has and took out thousands of ballistic missiles. We estimate that there were probably 8,000 of them prior to this attack. Since then, it has been nonstop back and forth barrages from Iran. They'll send 100 ballistic missiles here, 50 here, and they're doing it every couple of hours or so. They have, whereas Israel has only attacked military sites, Iran has consciously attacked civilian homes and highly populated areas.
Right.
There are hundreds of wounded in Israel right now, and at least 5 deaths that we know of. The Iron Dome is not hermetically sealed, and even if it takes 90% of the missiles out, that still leaves a percentage that are there. Israel is getting support from the United States and from Great Britain in defending against those missiles. And the ministers in Israel made it very clear that if Iran is going to keep attacking our civilian areas, that Israel will take out all of their economic infrastructure, including their oil fields. And that's kind of where we are as of 5:30 in the morning Israel time, Sunday.
Now, do you think do you think Iran would take that in consideration, that if Israel's going to knock out, rather than just military facilities, go after their energy infrastructure, whether it's oil or whether it's their electrical grid? You think that they may, kind of pause and think about the consequences of that happening?
I don't believe they will, because of who they are and their fanaticism, and moreover, they haven't. Minister Katz announced that, and they promptly continue to send missiles into Haifa and Tel Aviv and even Jerusalem. Israel has started fires in 2 of their oil fields. They were small fires, and they still are attacking. So now, unfortunately, we're dealing with a culture run by the Ayatollahs who believe they worship death, not life. And we have to remember that at all times. It's a different value system and a different culture. And whereas we all want peace and prosperity, that is not what they want. And their intention has become clear, different documents that Israel has found and different information, that Iran's intention has been to develop nuclear weapons and then give them to groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis.
Well, Rabbi, yesterday morning, I heard somebody who's extremely well known, who's on the radio, make a statement that I thought was really short-sighted, and especially from a major conservative voice, who said, "This is Israel's war, not the United States." And I thought, wait a minute, how did Iran get to be so powerful? Let's forget about Jiminy Cricket Carter and what they did with the overthrow, but all we have to do is look at the Obama administration, and the billions of dollars in cash, small bills, untraceable, sent over there to where they started funding all of the terrorism and the relaxing of the nuclear program. I mean, unfortunately, under that Democrat president, Obama, Iran has been given up until now the ability to create the nuclear weapons and to fund terrorism all over the country, all over the globe, rather. And then under Biden, to pull out of Afghanistan, leaving billions of military equipment there so that the Afghans can go ahead, and we're seeing that those military weapons showing up in all different areas all over the globe. And so it's kind of, I think, short-sighted to say that this is not America's war, what's going on right now between Israel and Iran.
Well, I don't know who the conservative person is that you're speaking of, but I will say that he or she is one of three things. Either an ignoramus, and really doesn't even understand what's going on, an idiot who chooses to deny what is going on and what the values and goals of Iran and, again, Quran and Hadith, what those values and goals are. Or it's someone we're finding more and more this is true, and it's really scary and sad that there are conservative people who are being paid by Qatar and by other places to be a woke right, so to speak, as James Lindsay talks about. This is America's war, and Israel is the front line. This is not a war against Israel. This is a war against Western civilization. You have to understand, everyone needs to really understand this. This is not a war against Jews or Israel. The Quran and the Hadith, they're sacred texts. The Ayatollah and all of these they're truly observant Muslims, these extremist Muslims, their belief is, their theology is that they want a worldwide caliphate with Sharia law. And if you do not believe in Sharia law, you are an infidel. Doesn't matter if you're a Jew, a Christian, a Catholic, or a more moderate Muslim, you are an infidel. And it is very clear, their text is clear, infidels are to be killed, enslaved, or converted. This is not a war for Israel. This is a war of which Israel is the front line. It is their goal is a worldwide caliphate. They say it in all their documents and their speeches, in their sacred texts, and in their charters. This is a war against America. The big Satan America and the little Satan Israel are only in their mind, they are only the front lines. But it is truly a war for the world.
No, I agree. That's when I heard that statement, it's like I stopped in my tracks and what? That's one thing that another thing that I wanted to point out, Rabbi, is that Trump derangement syndrome has really one of the, I guess, the psychic symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome. It has created so many Holocaust deniers because, the more they call Trump Hitler and Republicans and, the Nazi stormtroopers, they really diminish the horrific thing that took place under Hitler. So to compare what Trump is doing or what the Republican Party is doing to Nazi Germany, these people act, like I said, they're either stupid, they're just so inflicted by Trump derangement syndrome, or their anti-Semitism has just really found a way to come out and express itself.
It really has, and there is no comparison to Hitler, thank God. Doesn't matter if you like or dislike someone and what the Holocaust was, and to make that comparison both marginalizes what happened, but it also gives people an excuse. So we've seen today and over the last week these demonstrations against ICE and in terms of illegal immigration and things like that, and pro-immigration and the different causes and whatever this may be, these demonstrations. But explain to me why in these demonstrations there are hundreds of Hamas and Palestinian flags. What does that have to do with ICE, Trump, or immigration?
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing what the Nazis did, which is appealing to marginalized groups so they can say, see, we were on your side against ICE, you should be on our side against the Jews, against Israel. It's very manipulative and very, very dangerous.
No, absolutely. So, Marianne, I mean, there are so many now paid instigators that have now taken advantage and seized upon LA that the violence seems to just be escalating.
Yes, it's just really everything's hitting all at once, and
Mhm.
isn't it that it seems like it always happens that way, right? I mean, we have everything going on here in America with all these protests slash riots,
Mhm.
and then what's going on in Israel. It's just, just makes you think of the Bible a lot, and are we in the end times? I mean, it's just kind of, that's what I think about. And it's very scary times. And when you're looking at Iran, and you're looking at the way they treat a lot of their people, their women, these are just basic human rights issues. And for somebody to think there's a reason to side with them, they just don't understand what they're talking about.
Mhm.
I mean, Iran at one time was a very prosperous, great country. It was had a beautiful metropolitan cities, and and it's just now it's just a very dark, evil space.
Yep. And now, Rabbi, we have a guest who was here in the first half hour, James Hatami, who is Jewish and was born in Iran. Like I said, depending on which part of the country, he's either Persian or he's Iranian. So, James, I want you to meet Rabbi Michael Barkley.
Hi, Rabbi Michael. How are you?
I'm Baruch Hashem. I'm well, thank God. It's nice to meet you, James.
Pleasure all mine.
Hopefully we can meet in person at some point.
I wish. I was hoping you were here. We could meet. I happen to be a Cohen also, and it was a beautiful country back in Iran. But unfortunately, these mullahs came over, and now a lot of the Iranians themselves, those who were pro-regime change, they're so sorry what they did. But it's a little bit too late. 45 years too late.
I'm very blessed, James, to have been welcomed in the Persian community. I do about a dozen Persian weddings a year. I'm sure we have a lot of mutual friends. The community's not that big.
No.
And but it is interesting, and David Marianne, it's an interesting statement. James, you can corroborate this, that many American Jews have decided secularized. They've decided, well, Israel's far away, and I'm more committed to leftist politics than Israel or my religion. But the people who really get it more than anyone else are the Persian Jews, who they or their parents or grandparents came over here.
Mm-hmm.
And they are totally committed to Israel. We just did a fundraiser a week ago to raise money for a hospital in Israel, and it was really the people behind it were some Persian families, Persian Jewish families. They understand, because they've seen it, how dangerous what's going on in our country is. And James, do you agree with that statement as well?
1,000,000%. I used to go to Sinai Temple, and they said those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. We've been through this. We understand what's going on. So
I've said for years that I believe the future of American Judaism is held in the hands of Russian immigrant families and Persian immigrant families, because they understand where this can go if we don't do what needs to be done, and if we don't act right and righteously.
And that's what I'm trying to run for the governor of California. I want to fix this place, so people need to get on board.
Yeah, James is one of our gubernatorial candidates that we bring on from time to time. So, I met James through a mutual friend here at the station, and we'll have more candidates on, but we'll have James on again. But Rabbi, what can people do? What can our listeners do to support?
There are a few things that can be done.
Okay.
Number one, right. People think Israel's greatest defense is the Iron Dome. It is not. Our greatest defense is God, and it always has been.
Yes.
And you were talking about the end days. To me, I look at the book of Judges, which is the same story over and over. People forget what to do what is right and righteous in God's eyes. God sends a problem. There's war. Things get so bad, they finally go back to praying to God, and he sends a judge, Gideon, Samson, Deborah, etc. And then it's wash, rinse, repeat. What happens over and over. So the first thing we can do is pray, and whatever your faith tradition is. The second thing is to give charity to a Jewish organization, to an organization in Israel, or even to your church or local, whatever your cause is, but give it with an intention. Give the charity, whether it's a dime or $10,000, give it with the intention that it should be for the safety and protection of the people, the land, and the state of Israel. And that's a really important thing. And the third thing is to point out to everyone who makes a stupid comment that there is no historical Palestine, that it is not about Israel, this is about Western culture, it's a war against the West, and that America has to be involved in this so that this threat is limited, because they do want a worldwide caliphate. They are honest about it, and they have no issue and we had a Cold War because no one wanted mutually assured destruction.
Rabbi,
They
if I
don't
may
care
chime,
about that.
if I may chime,
They care about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
Rabbi, if I may chime, I tell people, I said, as a Jew myself, I said, if you read the Old Testament, but what we call the Testament, and people call it the Old, everything that possibly could see, we've done all the genocide and everything's written down. But after a few centuries, Jews says, you know what, live and let live. We do our thing, you guys do your thing. And then a few centuries later, Christianity came with, all the crucifixions and stuff like that. And then after a few centuries, they said, live and let live. Then came Islam. Unfortunately, they're still on tier number 1. They said our way or highway, either believe the way you do, or you're an infidel and we have to kill you.
Yeah, either convert, like I said, you're there. So, Rabbi, thank you so much. I saw some great pictures of your boys in their tournament.
They're supposed to be going to Israel. We're all supposed to be going to Israel beginning of July.
Mm-hmm.
We had to change our flights. They were going with the athletic delegation from Maccabi games as long as they're still on. And the hope is that it will be safe. I spoke to one of the heads of Maccabi last night, 2 a.m, and they anticipate the game still being on, which means they anticipate it being safe. I do want to put something out to all of your other listeners. There's a hospital, as you know, David and Marianne, there's a hospital in Haifa. It is called the Zion Hospital. It is one of the primary care facilities for all the wounded and everything else. There is an organization here in the States, 100% of the money goes directly to the hospital for equipment, which is desperately needed. It's BnaiZionUSA.org. That's BNAI, Zion, ZION, USA.org. We have to support things. We have to make this work. This is for the existential survival, not just of Israel, but of the West.
Absolutely.
We need to be that all the time.
Now I see someone is trying to call in. JJ, can you put that caller on? I think that is our friend Mirham that had a question for you, Rabbi. Hello, is this Mirham?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome. Did you have a question for the rabbi?
Yes, David, thank you. I do have a question for the rabbi. And my question, being from Jerusalem, what measures need to be taken now by the USA to get a three-way talk between Israel and Iran, in which USA and Gulf countries act as moderators for peace talks? That's my first question to the rabbi.
So Iran announced yesterday that they are not interested in any sort of negotiation. They're not interested in any sort of discussion about nuclear enrichment, uranium enrichment. In fact, they said that we're no longer giving any access to the IAEA or the IAEA. We are actively developing enrichment and nuclear program, and they said that very publicly. The U.S. is supporting Israel with defensive weaponry right now. They're helping take down ballistic missiles and rockets, drones. Both President Trump and Putin had a discussion that they would like to see a peace of some sort happen. Interestingly, a couple of hours ago, it was announced that the Iranians had gone to Qatar and asked them to step in and ask President Trump to stop Israel in this war. The problem is, at the end of the day, that Iran is interested and they're open about it. They want and desire a worldwide caliphate and the destruction of Israel. Period. End of report. You can't sit at a negotiating table when one side wants the other side dead and isn't willing to even consider another alternative.
Yep.
And that's also tied to the theology. Yep. So it's not quite so easy as that. Even if only 10% of Muslims are that level of extremism, that's still a couple 100 million people. And we need to remember that Iran is being controlled by the Ayatollah, by the clerics, and until there's a shift in the theology or in the leadership of Iran, there really is no opportunity to sit down at this point. And it's always been kind of a game with them.
Right. Mirham, one last question before we let you go.
Yes, my last question, how we can contain China or Russia not supporting Iran to fight Israel?
I'm sorry, I lost part of it. I heard you say China.
The question was, how can we encourage Russia or
how can we contain China or Russia not supporting Iran to fight Israel?
Well, Putin, Putin gains nothing by supporting Iran. I don't know that China has the ability to. And no one, China and Russia and the United States are all smart enough, I think, to realize they don't want to get into making this a worldwide conflict, especially if it can be eliminated just by eliminating the leadership of Iran and changing the way its nation is. One of the things that you've been seeing a lot with Israeli politicians and now American politicians as well over the last 3 days is a call out to the Iranian people to revolt against the Ayatollah.
Yes.
Take back your country. Make it a beautiful country again.
Yes.
Get rid of these crazies. And I think that's part of the intention as well. If that can happen, then peace becomes easy.
No, that
really
sounds one of the take advantage of the situation and help that to come to pass. All right, Mirham, we'll see you soon. Say hello to the family, your lovely wife. And then now, Rabbi, thank you once again. And, we'll be talking to you again very soon. Let's keep the communication going.
Always, and thank you guys so much for
Thank you,
everything
Rabbi.
you do for both this and for the world. I can't tell you how much I both appreciate and love you both so much. And
thank you.
And James, you can get my information from David, and it'd be great to hook up and get to know each other as well.
I will. Thank you.
So I thank you all, and we need to pray for Israel and realize that when we do that, praying for the West, we're praying for the United States, we're praying for civilization as opposed to Sharia law, and that is so important in these times.
All right. Thank you. Good night, Rabbi.
Good night.
Good night, Rabbi.
Good night, guys. Bye-bye.
James, how can people find out more about you? Website?
CaliforniaGreat.com.
CaliforniaGreat.com. That's James Atami for governor.
Yeah, or JamesAtami.com.
Or just JamesAtami.com. Thank you so much, James. There's the music. That hour went quick,
It sure
Marianne,
did.
and we went from the streets of LA to the streets of Tel
Yes,
Aviv.
we got so much more still to talk about. So
Yep.
stay tuned.
All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away. You're listening to the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club show.
This program was sponsored by C&M Metals.
Hey, it's Jeff, Jimmy, and Mark from Gunslinger Gun Shop and Auctions, here to tell you about our two amazing Gunslinger gun shops in Azusa and the city of Orange.
Go to gunslingerauctions.com to learn more. And to sell your firearms for auction, go to gunslingerauctions.com.
Our next huge auction is September 13th, where you can bid on incredible firearms, art, and collectibles in person, online, by phone, or with absentee bids.
Go to gunslingerauctions.com to learn about our monster auction on September 13th and check out our hit radio show, The Gunslinger Show, live Sundays, 7 to 9 p.m. right here on AM 870.
The Answer.
Hey, it's Grant Stinchfield. You can help us send care packs to our troops overseas during Troopathon.
Care packages are incredibly important. I can't underscore how important they are. First and foremost, it's the connection with back home.
You, our Answer listeners, are making a difference.
Hey, show us that there's somebody out there who cares.
We're sending care packs to our troops overseas.
For some reason, you feel like no one notices you. But once you get that care package, whether it be from like family, friends, or someone in the community, it lets you know again, like, man, maybe the decision I made was a great decision. And I see how what I can do can affect like other people, and they really think about me, especially in these times of need.
This Father's Day weekend, help send care packs to our troops overseas.
Call 833-2-TROOPS. That's 833-2-TROOPS.
That's 833-2-TROOPS.
Or give online at am870.info. Thank you.
AM 870, The Answer. Find us at am870theanswer.com. Download our apps, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv.
With SRN News, I'm Ron Taylor. Bloodshed in Minnesota this morning. Former State House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband have been shot and killed. A second lawmaker, John Hoffman, and his wife were shot and wounded. They remain hospitalized.
The Hoffmans are out of surgery at this time and receiving care, and we are cautiously optimistic they will survive this assassination attempt. This was an act of targeted political violence. Peaceful discourse is the foundation of our democracy. We don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a suspect identified as 57-year-old Vance Bolter, is still at large. Authorities say the gunman was dressed like a police officer and drove a car that resembled an official police vehicle, but they add the suspect is not in law enforcement. A massive shooting incident in Nigeria. Officials say a gunman has killed at least 100 people, scores wounded in the attack.
This podcast, Alex Marlowe, brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests.
Biden was deteriorating. He was of decreased mental function. He did have major physical damage, but not necessarily the stuff that's being focused on at the moment. What's most relevant is the dementia and the brain aneurysm stuff that no one is talking about, and no one is answering that question, how much that has had an effect on his life.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
We all know the importance of good daily habits, whether it's getting outside, getting your steps in, stretching those limbs, or eating right. Doing it on the regular is key. That's why if you're dealing with everyday aches and pains, it's time to bring Relief Factor into your life. Head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 800-4RELIEF and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. Relief Factor is the daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by a team of doctors, it uses a special formula of 4 natural ingredients. Relief Factor doesn't just mask the pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it. In fact, the longer you take Relief Factor, the more effective it is to get your days going without any pain. See if we can get you out of pain by taking their 3-week quick start. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Simply call 800-4RELIEF. 800-4RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, neck, shoulders, hips, knees, don't let it keep you from living the life you want to live. Make Relief Factor part of your daily routine. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
The swamp is draining, dead people aren't voting, and girls can play sports with biological girls again. America's position for 4 years of sanity and economic prosperity. What are you doing to make your business great again? Hi, my name is Anna, and I help small, mid, and large-sized businesses smash their revenue goals. Want to advertise on our airways? I got you. Want to try smart TV ads? I got you. Digital marketing has your head spinning? I got you. But don't take my word for it. Hear what my clients have to say.
Anna did a great job communicating my business concept clearly. It helped me seal the deal with my biggest client to date, and my YouTube views tripled.
Marketing works when it's done right. Call me for a free consultation. 818-662-3791. 818-662-3791. That's 818-662-3791, or email anna@salemla.com. Let's make your business great again.
Severe numbness, tingling, a burning sensation in your feet and hands, or weakness that can take away your ability to walk or even use your arms. It's a nerve issue, neuropathy.
The numbness could become so severe that the patients don't feel where their legs are, so when they walk, they tend to fall because of the lack of sensation.
That's Dr. Shulian, the Nerve MD, who treats and relieves neuropathy, especially severe neuropathy. Call 877-88-NERVE. PPO and regular Medicare accepted. Get relief. Call 877-88-NERVE.
Was worth waking up from.
Coming up on the next Morning Answer.
A poison pill in California's budget.
Or healthcare for illegals.
Tune in weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m.
This is the Morning Answer.
This program is sponsored by C&M Metals.
Did you know Los Angeles is the #1 city in the country for mosquitoes? Did you spend last summer avoiding your beautiful backyard? Are you dreading the summer outdoor parties, barbecues with family and friends? Mosquito Be Gone to the rescue. That's right, Mosquito Be Gone is here. Enjoy outdoor sporting events and soccer with your kids at the park, and Mosquito Be Gone is safe for kids. Look for all your options at www.jeffy.us. That's www.jeffi.us. Order today.
And it sounds like we're coming back.
Yes, I think we are.
All right. What music is that?
What is it? What is it, Benny?
Orale. He's got next thing you know, we'll be flying the Mexican flag in here. No way. He's a Chicano, not Mexicano.
There you go.
That's right. So, Marianne, you and Benny you've been up very early.
Oh, yes.
You were doing God's work yesterday and today.
Yes, yes.
And you want to share with our listeners a little bit?
Well, yeah, you know what? It's been very, very busy the last few days. As everyone knows, we have all these protests / riots, I
Mhm.
call, that are going on. And of course, we have our police officers, that are having to be there almost 24 hours.
Mhm.
And so we get a phone call from Elaine,
Mhm.
indicating, I think she called Bishop,
Mhm.
and then Bishop calls my husband,
Mhm.
and then and then so Benny calls Paula at Shepherd Church,
Mhm.
and then Paula, basically what we're told is that our police officers need water, they need snacks, they need food. And so we're like, okay, let's make phone calls. And before you know it, we have a Walmart donating waters and snacks. We have Shepherd Church, our Pastor Dudley and Paula making it happen. And, we are getting these burritos for our police officers and some more snacks and some more waters. And then we get a hold of Chick-fil-A. Then Chick-fil-A, they're delivering us some chicken sandwiches to take to our police officers. And so, basically we made a run yesterday during the day. Then we made a run early. Well, my husband, I'll tell you what, my husband's been really handling it. And he's up at 3:00 in the morning, along with Myra's husband, Kirby. And, they're up, they're picking up burritos, breakfast burritos at 3:00 in the morning, delivering them. Then like I said, then we will go to Chick-fil-A and picking that up. And then tomorrow we'll be doing another delivery. So it's been really crazy, but everybody is really the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club, Churches in Action, Shepherd Church and Paula, Lulu's Restaurant. People go to Lulu's restaurant because they really are just helping us out. If you guys are feeling down and out, go to Shepherd Church. And if you feel like you want to be informed, come to our radio show.
It's been a great
Mhm.
couple of days, even with all the tragedy going on. And I don't want to leave out Walmart. Walmart
Yes.
really stepped up.
The three managers.
We had three managers: Porter Ranch, we had Panorama City, we had the Woodland Hills Walmart who came
Mhm.
out.
West
And-
Hills, yes.
West Hills. They filled up the van with the snacks and
Yes.
everything for the
Walmart
for the
delivered.
officers. Paula from Shepherd Church. Let me tell you, she's been amazing. Pastor Dudley, I want to say thank you. This is why Shepherd Church is my home, has been my home for over 30 years. And they didn't even know that I have two sons that serve in the LAPD. And I tell people, I've always had a passion for this, but for right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Mhm.
And what we're dealing with today is like when you talk to some of these officers and even your own children, and it's like, Dad, it's our own people. Our own
Right.
people that are throwing rocks at us, spitting at us,
Yes.
and this is what I want the audience to understand. LAPD is not the enemy.
Right.
LAPD are our children, our brothers, our sisters, our moms, and our dads.
And it's not just the LAPD, it's a National Guard, it's the
Yes.
military. These are our families.
It's ICE.
People,
Yeah,
ICE.
all the
People are
departments.
talking about them like they're separate entities, like they're from a different planet. It's like these are our cousins, they're our sons, our daughters. These are our families. The majority of the police here are Hispanic. The majority of a lot of these National Guards, military, a lot of them are Hispanic.
Either Hispanic or black.
Yes. And it's like, throwing rocks like they're doing their job. They're not taking sides. They're just there to keep the peace. That's it.
Well, I will say this, before all the protests started, there were a small population that was in support of, what was going on with illegal immigration. But after the riots, those very people, even church leaders, nonprofit organizations, they were the ones that were saying, that's it. Enough is enough. They've crossed the line because now they're attacking our family members. So if you keep up these riots, you keep up these protests, you keep doing what you're doing, you're not helping your cause.
Well, and when you have the mayor and the governor saying local law enforcement has it under control, but then you look at the business community
Oh, yes.
in downtown LA, and
That's
we're
right.
we're fortunate indeed we have Don Monroe with us.
Big
that
Don.
The business community, I think they would beg to differ with the mayor.
That's right.
That everything is under control. given the looting.
It is under control. It's under their control.
Yeah, and
Right?
he
And he
head of the CIA.
and then he was knighted
Yeah.
by what, Queen Elizabeth? Right.
Yes.
Never had there been a president that kneeled down in front of the going on. When in reality, the real reality is there is a king. There's a king, it's just not the American king.
Yeah.
Which king is it?
The one with the most money?
Charles.
Charles Schwab.
Charles. And you know what? What happened? I mean, I'm going to a little deep into the weeds of these conspiracies, but people found it rather interesting that Zelensky, before he sent that drone attack off into Russia, who did he visit? King
Charles.
Charles Schwab.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And then what happened? We find that a week after that, Lindsey Graham flies out there. And so essentially, you know, Trump has a very, very challenging job. A very challenging job. The challenging job, he's trying to have peace in the world, but he's got all these skeletons, well, not skeletons, but he's got these traitors, right? In Congress, right? In Europe, in Israel. So it's kind of like every time he's trying to move forward with the peace agenda, things go south.
That's right. Well, you know what? They're like we're going into the weeds, like we said.
Oh,
Because a
that's
lot of people don't understand all of this. This is the WHO. This is the we.
WHO, the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, the World, all these New World Order agencies, and these are people that have been appointed into these positions. They were not voted in. You didn't get to say so. Did you vote for anybody to be your representative?
They always like to throw that in. It's like they weren't voted. They were like Eli. He wasn't voted in. He wasn't. But it's like okay,
Well, neither was Fauci.
Right.
Exactly. I mean,
But you know what's also interesting too is that while this is going on, I can't remember. Well, Justin Trudeau was essentially they had to get rid of him because he was just, I mean, he was a real tyrant. He was a tyrant with a soft voice.
Yeah,
he's out there.
Because remember during the trucker strike, he froze their bank accounts.
He froze it, and he froze anybody's bank accounts
that
contributed.
Yeah.
In other words, they're sitting at home and said, you know what, I want to support what they're doing. I believe.
I'll send them $10.
Right. Isn't that too? Yeah. Serious. To the max. And then this recent prime minister that's now running Canada, I guess he was like worked for the Bank of Canada, and also was worked in the whole Davos group. He getting the point that essentially he's tied the same New World Order people, and the same way that Kamala Harris was kind of like pushed into the position to run for president.
Yes.
Remember, they're like, the DNC's like, we didn't vote for her.
That's right.
Right? What happened to our procedure?
Yes.
If they were ignored, why were they ignored? They need to appoint their person in that position. That's the same thing that happened in Canada. They had to appoint somebody into that position. You know? So, I don't know, we get that noise feedback over me. There you go. So, I mean, we're dealing with, not we,
radio. but the country is not seeing the real threats that are happening externally.
It's way
It's
bigger.
way bigger.
This is okay. When we're talking about all these global elitists, let's talk about George Soros. George Soros has been kicked out of several countries for undermining their countries and ruining their economy. I think Britain was one of them. And so this gentleman, or
He was
I
a
shouldn't say,
child
he-
hunting down Jews.
Yeah,
What are
he
you talking
is in our
about?
country along with his son, undermining this country
If
now.
he say, and when he goes out there and speaks about anti-Semitism, it's like,
What?
I'm sorry,
Like, what
what?
do you-
You need to just vomit because, God, I mean, you had an early start.